Yeah. All right, we're recording. Hey, hi, Amber.
Hey,
Welcome.
Dave. Thank
Great to
you.
see you today. Thank you so much for joining me. So, hi, everybody. My name again is Neve McQuillan. I am the founder and curator of Ripple Out. Ripple Out is a women's forum for intentional leadership. And today we're having a conversation with Amber Cook. So Amber Cook is a math resource teacher in Baltimore County Public Schools, and she is also the creator and leader of Baltimore Stands Up. And I connected with Amber this spring when she signed up for the Aspiring Leaders course that I teach in Baltimore County Public Schools. So I'm not going to say anything more, Amber. I'm going to leave it over to you to give the
Thanks.
story of why you are here today.
Yes.
And then we're going to lead into our powerful questions. So tell
Awesome.
us, what had you get to where you are right now?
Awesome. I'm honored to be here. Always a pleasure being with you, Neve. And hey, everybody that's listening. I it's just such a powerful story. It was like as soon as the pandemic hit, COVID came, and all the secondhand trauma experiencing that, the racial divides in our country got deeper, and I just felt so emotionally heavy. I read a book called Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. And in the book, she mentioned a quote from Dr. MLK: "If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way." Words matter. Like, that's heavy. And it hit me so deep. And I just was like, what's a small, great thing I can do in my life? It's always been a thing, just to change the world, change someone's life, change my life. I feed off of doing for others. Servantship is just my life goal. So then thinking about what could I do now? Like, I have power, I have privilege, I have position, I have positionality, I have dreams, I can act, I can be, I can do. What can I do? I had a small mini book chat for Stamps from the Beginning, the remix version with Jason Reynolds and Dr. Kendi. Amazing, high recommendation of reading. And 20 of us met, discussed it, loved it. And then we said we needed to get this out to the masses. So I tweeted out, anyone in Baltimore County that wants to meet, talk about race, and share community and collaboration, join in. I got 55 people that same night. It was like 12 in the morning. So I knew I wasn't alone in how I was feeling. The next day, when I woke up officially, I got about 100 people. And then over the next 2 weeks after that, it was like June first week maybe, I got like 230 people that joined in. And so for the June 11 official first virtual meeting, had about 190 something people come on to the meeting. So give or take 20 something didn't just attend or whatever, but it was amazing. But it was just beautiful to share space, community, humanity, and to know that I'm not alone in how horribly sad I am about our current state of our world, because it's not just America that's experiencing these things. So that's kind of what that's the what and the how as to how we got here. I believed, I dreamed, and I hurt really bad, and I wanted people to lift me because I wanted to lift other people too. And
You
that's kind of how
believed, you
we.
dreamed, and you hurt really badly. So
And then I
let's.
wanted to
I
act.
want to. I want to be clear for our listeners in case they are not familiar with your work. So, what
Oh, right.
exactly is it? Your work. So, Baltimore Stands Up. What is that?
Right. So the group is called BMore Standing in Solidarity. I shortened it to BMore Stands Up for like Twitter accounts, but either name totally interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
The group is, I think, perfectly explained in the title of the group. So BMore, it was originally supposed to be our Baltimore community area, not just BCPS schools, but Baltimore City, Baltimore County, anyone around us. I had a friend from Twitter. Her name's Lisa. She's from Detroit. She reached out to me, and we literally only knew each other from liking each other's tweets and retweeting. And she's like, "How do I get involved in this?" And I'm like, "What?" So then from her, California, Texas, Canada, Florida, New York, Connecticut came out, and before you knew it, Be More wasn't just Baltimore greater community. It was, you're gonna be more, like BE space MORE, in your life. And then standing, we're not sitting anymore with racist practices, and we're not going to sit with the discomfort and content. We're not going to sit and just take it anymore. We're going to stand, and we're going to stand in positionality with one another, community, humanity, all the things. And then solidarity. I'm standing with you to do something amazing and great for our future generations. So I think that's like the general what we do. To be specific, I hold virtual gatherings because COVID is alive and well, and we lean into discomfort. We share resources. I give a little bit of mini PDs based on readings and PDs that I've gone to. I always give credit and honor. One super great PD I've been following is Liberate and Chill. It's on Twitter. They are a great group of people. They are such forceful educators. And then we've also been trying to identify what's our small great thing. So I have my small great thing. It's leading the BMore group. And I've been encouraging everyone that joins to find their small great thing. And if that's going to be internal dialogue, internal reading, I had a person reach out to me that she finally bought that one race kind of heavy topic book, and she didn't care what her husband was going to say about it. That's a small great thing. Or maybe it's going to be considering how you reopen the school as an administrator. Anything, but just what's that one thing that you're going to do different that you never did before? Because racism is too heavy, it's too horrible, it's too hateful, and we have to stop it. It's got to change, and it can with us. So that's the gist of the group. Everybody's doing something, whether it be internal, external, but we're all doing a thing, because no longer are we going to wait for someone to do it. We have to do it ourselves.
I love that.
Thanks.
So the quotation that you had in your email today, and I'm going to read it, is, what small, great thing can you do with your power, position, and privilege to be better?
That's right.
And
it starts with a dream. It's all the things that we don't like, and all the things that we complain about, and all the things that we know are wrong and that we feel are wrong, and what we would never accept for our own biological kids or our own students or our own family or our own person. Like all those things, that's it's just the dream of liberation, like just the belief. And that is what you do. And no one can say it's too impossible or too small. It can happen, all of it. We just we've never dreamed it. We've never believed it because we never had to. And we weren't built and bred to do that. But like now is our time.
so what I'm hearing here, Amber, is like this click. Gloria Felton refers to them as this click moment where, we sort of live our lives, and while we might be aware of things that aren't working, we're not necessarily inspired or moved to take action.
Yes.
And yet you had your click moment and you're like, you know what, this is it. And I am just like getting into action and making this happen.
That's right. That's exactly it. I think I've always been upset. I've always been bothered, but never. My mom and my grandma, they're from the South. They always tell me, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you'll do something different. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I don't like where I'm at. I don't like where a lot of us are at. And I'm sick and tired. So I'm ready to do something different.
So what I want to really focus on today as well, Amber, is this is sort of like my impetus for connecting with you again, was the power and passion and the momentum that you've established in such a short time with this. And what I've been sort of looking at recently is like how do people know what it is they want to manifest in the world? Particularly women, of course, because we're looking at women and leadership. So I want to ask you that question. So how do you know how did you know that this was what there was for you to manifest?
That's heavy. I love it. I really do believe in the power of manifestation. I believe in the power of speaking things into existence. And I believe in the power of hope and faith and belief, like all things believing. I think as a classroom teacher, I always had such a great relationship with my kids and my teacher colleagues and my admin. And it wasn't because I did anything different, special, or miraculous. It was just simply because I think I'm really good at making relationships, and I know how to create boundaries. So not that we all have to be best friends, but just that we can communicate, we can collaborate, and we can share humanity, and really just create a space in like a spirit of love. And so with that, I think just considering that that's my like true north, that's my like guiding drive. All things human first, all things rooted in love and kindness, but not in the fluffy sense, in the sense of like, no, I really do care of you. I have the empathy to share with you. I just read today, empathy does not require relatability. Like I might never experience your pain and your success or whatever, but I can empathize and I can feel your feel. So with that, I think just how this manifested, I just felt it. I felt this was so right. It's so real. because of my position in the county, I've been able to make a lot of relationships with schools and teachers and families and communities. And so it's not that it was hard to get people to jump in with me. As soon as they saw like, oh, Amber's doing this, I think I could get this with her, or I think I like to create safe spaces. I would say that I do, and I believe I do because people have told me that, and also it does feel safe. I'm such an empath. I'm a really big feeler. So I I knew this could work. I knew it because I dreamt it. I knew it because I believed in it, and I knew because everyone needs it. One of our really big problems in our country is that we don't talk, we don't communicate, and this was our space to do that. And I do believe in small, great things, like just a small, bite-sized thing, even though this is now a huge task. But I do believe that this is just a small step. It's a small action. Plenty of people did the work before me, but I believe in manifesting what I know is going to bring about good things for humanity.
So what I heard you say was like a sort of like a, just sort of a deep knowing, and then the action came after that. The empathy that you create, the safe spaces that you create for people, and also a space for people to talk and listen to each other. So I want
Especially
to ask
because,
you.
I'm sorry.
I want to ask you a question about, and this sounds, this is sort of like where the knowing who you are becomes in a way kind of nebulous, or knowing
Right.
what there is for you to manifest. So how would you say you knew? Like, was it a feeling in your body? Was it a thought? Was it like, what was there that had you know that this was it?
Well, I know I'm definitely a natural leader. In all things, I like to rise to the top. I like to take control, not in a negative sense. I love to work together and collaborate, but I love to like do something. I'm more of a, if I have an idea, I'm going to try it, and if it fails, I'll figure it out and I'll do it again. So I just, you brought up a point of like knowing who you are, and I know that's me. So this is something that I totally would do. I would have a thought and this idea, and I would act on it, and I would just do it. I literally feel it. Like I honest to God, I went to sleep after the stamped book chat that we had, and I dreamt this. Like I knew I could do this. I knew I was mad enough. I knew I was sick and tired enough, and I knew how to organize this. Um, just simply getting people in a room together virtually and having the discussion, having the open dialogue. I knew I could be soft enough to bring people in, but hard enough to be affirmative, so people start to consider their actions and their thoughts and beliefs. I knew I could be informative enough that I could teach someone something that they never knew was true. And I knew I could be reflective enough to always change my own practice. So I knew I could do those things because I know those are my strengths as a teacher, a leader, a human, a daughter. Um, I manifesting, I felt it, I wanted it, I got it, I did it. That's just it's just my personality.
Mm-hmm. So we talked earlier on before we started our recording and our conversation today about this idea about like the rippling out,
Mm-hmm.
right? So can you talk a little bit about how the ripples sort of started, like where and
Yes.
how? Because that's like, we were like talking about it being magic, It's
Right.
like sometimes you can just work so hard to make something happen and you get no momentum. And yet this was just
100%.
sort of like fireworks.
Right. And that, I think it ties right back into that manifesting. Like I knew that this could be something great. Of course, never knowing it could ever get to where it is now, but because of the manifestations, it did ripple out so beautifully with the group. Like I said before, we have people from all across the country coming, and even really our North American continent. So Canada has been showing up. I've been doing some equity work with their school system. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, one of the participants that joins in, he works at Johns Hopkins in our city. He is starting this grassroots movement in his educational department for equity work, and he wants to partner with me. We're going to get the BMore group up and running off the ground, and it could be like a legitimate company in a sense, and we'll start to work with pre-K through 12 grades in different school systems across Maryland, and then we'll work with families and provide equitable resources for them. It'll be a prototype of a sense of what citizens in our state could lean on for resources to do better and be better. And since it's Johns Hopkins, I mean, a lot of other states know about it, so it could become a whole big thing besides Maryland. I'm also partnering with DC Public Schools. One of the chancellors there reached out and is starting a new curriculum for Reconstruction. It's for Black and Brown students, not whitewashed. It's to cater to the history that we don't learn about. And I got partnered with that because of my work. A lot of people that I've actually been meeting, especially the Johns Hopkins thing, that came because I knew Neve. So Neve knew someone, and that person knew someone, and linked me through these ripple effects. It was kind of like heaven sent. You know, God knew what he was doing, putting us together. It's crazy how just this one movement, this one idea, and this one magic thing that you created, it came over here to me too. Also with the BMore group, I partner back with Baltimore County. It's totally separate in a sense, but because of the work with BMore, I was able to get some shine and some recognition. And so I'm working with a teammate, Brett Parker. We're doing building anti-racist classrooms. It's been great. The whole point is that you are not anti-racist. As a matter of fact, you're going to find out just how racist you really are. And then you're going to do lots of work to build for anti-racism, but it's going to take a time. And it's been so heavy, but rewarding. And just to know that we've had now about, I would say, 400 participants because we led it in June and now we're running a whole summer course. So 400 people, teachers, superintendent designees, and directors, executive directors, chiefs, and lots of people, principals, coming out and working for anti-racism. And then those people are also simultaneously coming to the BMore group. Just, I felt really, really sad. I was so hurt back in March and April and May. And then mad enough, hurt enough, sad enough. And I had this dream and I knew I could do it and I did it. And just to know the hundreds of people that also feel my feel, the way that I feel their feel. And now we're doing it together for the good of our future. It's amazing.
What I loved about your session with Brett, because I took that session, and you know, I'm sure you've experienced this as a teacher, where you have one tiny little thing that happens, and then all of a sudden, it's just sort of like you can see like a whole curriculum there in front of you, right? Like a whole path of action, right? So when I, you know, heard that you and Brett were using the Charlotte Danielson framework to look at racism and racist thought and practice and beliefs within this classroom, it was like, that is ingenious. Because one of the questions and the things that I always hear around the topic of equity is like, so where do you start? And a huge learning for me this year was, you know, that moving the needle of equity and, you know, bringing equity into the world isn't about a single action, and it's not something that's out there. You don't do out there. It has to be here, front and center with you all the time. It's everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you think. And it's like, so how do we do that? But what you and Brett did was you created almost like the structure. Hey, this thing, you use Charlotte Danielson framework in your teaching every single day. Where can you meld and weave in the equity conversation? So I just thought that was just like practical, simple, and ingenious.
Well, and that goes to 2 points, because Brett and I were talking about what can teachers take in their classrooms, what could school administrators do, what could even school communities do as a whole outside of the schoolhouse. And using the framework was super awesome because it's what teachers are going to use every day in a sense. And then we also have been making a really big point of, you're right, it's not external work first. You have to go inward and do your identity work first, figure out where you land when you hear racism and white supremacists, et cetera, and what social identities you have. I even offered to the classes that we've run, and also Brett and I have been diving deeper in this too. The text is called Readings for Diversity and Social Justice. It's a pretty thick, heavy textbook, but it's amazing. And in that book, Dr. Barbara J. Love, she created this liberatory lens of consciousness. You can also Google it, the PDF comes up, but the gist of it is that you move from awareness, like becoming woke and understanding the world around you, to then analysis, where then you begin to ask why and what else and how and, you know, what could be true that I never knew. And then you move into action, where you are really thoughtful and purposeful and very reflective. And then lastly, you get to allyship and accountability. And then you begin to call others into the work as well. And you can navigate all of that simultaneously. But that's been a really good frame of reference too for teachers that we've been working with.
That's great.
Mhm.
You know, I want to give right now a shout out to Long Beach School District, because I was trained at Learning Forward in the design thinking process, and
Oh,
I've been able to
wow.
bring it in Baltimore County, which I'm thrilled about. What they do is embedded in their design thinking process is the notice and reflect, and we use the
Mm,
liberatory method for the notice and
mm,
reflect. And I
wow.
was just like so delighted that I got to learn about a tool to sort of like embed in my everyday work. So yeah,
Absolutely.
shout out to Liberatory and also to Long Beach. What I think is so cool here, Amber, as well, is that, you know, if we look at all the protests that have occurred around the world, I mean, literally overnight,
Mhm.
that the world
That's
is
right.
saying, this is not right.
That's right.
You have an opportunity to give people those tools to say, okay, so what do we do? You know, I mean,
Mhm.
protests are great. Absolutely, protests are great. But after the euphoria of the protest, like, what do you do? You know, it's
Exactly.
like, how do you do this work every single day in and live and breathe it? And you're giving people the tools around the world to do that.
Especially because we have to strategize, organize, plan, and then attack, not in the anarchy sense, but then
Yeah.
it's like create your demands and say what you know we're not going to accept because it's harmful and racist. But then also leaning in with one another, because it's not supposed to be done by yourself. Like it
Yeah.
is helpful to
Can't do it by
know.
yourself.
That's right. As a teacher on this particular virtual gathering with me and the BMore group, you've got a teammate with you, or your principal is there, or your chief academic officer, or your executive director. The fact that leadership is showing up and showing out to my BMore group, to Liz Berquist's White Affinity Space, and to the BCPS Race Talk, like the fact that leadership higher up is getting involved and saying, yeah, we're with you, that just makes me feel like permission granted. We need to get this work
Mm.
done. Um,
And what I'm also seeing too is, um, when we start conversations like this, what happens is that they're on the outside, you know, they're sort of like marginalized conversations. But slowly what happens is that it becomes part of the cultural psyche. And then there's this moment when everything flips. You know, I think it was amazing with the the push for gay marriage, you know, making that a
oh
legal
yeah.
thing, you know. And as you know, I mean, I grew up in Ireland, and, you know, conversations I would have when I was in college many years ago, it was like, you know, the concept of gay marriage, that would never happen. And then I could see this conversation shifting in America.
Right.
And it was sort of like the struggle, but then all of a sudden it was like, well, of course, this is the right thing to do. And then in Ireland, they voted to pass an amendment in the
Mm,
Constitution to legalize
wow.
gay marriage. It's like, if that can happen in Ireland, anything can happen. And I'm sort of just like seeing the same thing here, like this
Mhm.
this seismic shift. Um,
Definitely. But I think with that same note, I think people are also realizing just how deeply rooted
yeah,
our country is in racism. I mean,
yeah,
it's the founding bloodline of
you're right.
how everything began. And so I do believe it can happen. I do believe the shift. I know it's going to come.
Mm,
But I think to give the credit to the weight of just how hateful
yeah.
our country was created on, that's a lot. So it is a lot to turn over. Not that it can't happen, but it's going to be heavy.
And, you know, I've been doing a lot of readings, and, you know, a question I was, you know, and something that's been really in the news is like, so, you know, slavery started with America, and, you know, the success of America and the growth of America is because it was built on the slaves, on the backs of people who were enslaved
That's
in
right.
America. And I just had this thought the other day. So what would America have been like if that hadn't occurred? What would we look
Exactly.
like today? You know, because this is something that we have to like wrestle with. I mean, it
That's
is a
right.
part of who we are. And, you know, what would our world have been like if we didn't have that?
And the answer to that question, I think, is the dreams that we have to have and hold on to then make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's see, I've got a couple of questions, so many questions here I want to ask you. Let's see, which one am I going to choose?
I'm enjoying our talk.
Oh, thank you. So am I. So am I. So what is there yet to do?
Oh, man.
Mm,
I just sent out an email today. So I have some short term goals and some long term goals. Short term, I'm going to be hosting more racial conversation, but we have built community. The Be More group has developed approximately 265 friends. We have people here who have never met or they have met, people who have been friends just in education, but they've never really talked about race. And so, because of the humanity that we've been working within and that we've been building up more to become more positive and more equitable, we need to like spend time together and talk about other things as well. And so I'm going to host game night. I want to have more opportunity for us to just get together and laugh with joy, Black joy, and well, really BIPOC joy, people of the global majority. That joy is an act of active resistance. And so to not spend our time moping and sad, that is literally
Wow.
a goal we need to maintain.
Wow.
I also want to get kids involved. I had a lot of people in the group that also had that same dream with me. I'm working with them to get something up and running for August. Our panel Q&A was going to be adults, but after hearing someone's daughter speak about the power of our group, I knew we had to get kids involved right before school to get our why as our front and center. Some long-term goals, I want to partner up heavier with some organizations outside of the county. I want to take this and I want to make it a licensed company. I want to get this up and running. I need to personally refine and define my vision and my goals and my ideas for this group. All of the ones that I had originally are all checked. I wanted to create a
That was
community.
fast.
Right.
That
I
was
wanted to create a
fast.
community, like, check. I wanted us all to be able to talk about race openly, check. I wanted to educate
Uh,
people in some basic conversational things about race so that when they do offend, they know how to bounce back with grace.
yeah.
I wanted to address white women's tears. I wanted to address navigating space as a Black woman, talking about race to white people, et cetera. And, you know, all of my like basic checklist things have been met. So now I need to refine and define, because my dreams have only gotten bigger. My manifestations are coming and I need to be more prepared for them. I also want to make sure that I give a lot of credit to the people that I've been helping to donate. At the last meeting, one of my white allies called out, actually, I'm going to call him an abolitionist because he is tearing down systems right now. And
Mm.
he called out and said that we need to make sure that we sustain and maintain our people of color, especially Amber. People tried to donate to me, but I didn't want to take it because I'm not legalized as a company, awkward taxes, all the things. So now people are like, well, if you can't take my finances, take my time. So I really want to make sure that I start to organize those meetings more, get more of like a sustained and maintained organizational schedule for that. I definitely would love to see how this could play out in some school systems. But I definitely have some goals. Got some dreams, I got some goals. So personally, short term, get some summer things up and running to continue the racial conversation, get ready to reopen school. Long term, I want to work with organizations outside of our school system.
I think what I heard at the core of that is the humanity, like bringing the humanity into this, our shared humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like crucial at the core of the work. So what are you learning?
I am learning about myself first and foremost. Not to sound selfish, but I'm learning that I have a lot of strength and I definitely give a lot of strength to people. I'm learning the power of my voice. I think I silenced myself a very long time ago. And I am working in my identity work to pinpoint when that was so I can heal Amber inside and then move forward. Was working with one of my coaches. She's been coaching me. I don't want to call it therapy, but it's been like a coaching session in a sense. I guess we could say therapy. And we discussed how I've been finding my voice and finding myself. And she was like, Amber, you never do things like this. Like, girl, where'd you come from with all this? And I told her I felt like a phoenix in a sense. Like I've been making many waves around racial conversations, but now I'm taking my surfboard and I'm making a really big splash, and you take it. I'm not going to care if you want to give it back. And so I just feel like a newborn, kind of reborn person, I suppose, like a literal phoenix from the ashes. Like I'm definitely rising up, and I like who I've become. I've also learned, honestly, as a Black female, I've learned that white folks want to talk about race and that white folks want to do better and that white folks want to learn. And I'm learning to check my biases that I've been bringing because of how I was either taught, raised, brought up, the experiences that I've shared with people of my race, with people outside of my race, especially white people. And so I've been learning that a lot of people besides me are also sick and tired. I'm learning how to lead. I love that. I love leading. I mentioned before, I know I'm a natural leader. I've been learning how to organize. And truthfully, in the most selfish sense, I've been learning how to listen. I know a lot of white friends and allies and abolitionists have been listening to people of color and not leading, they've not been acting, they've been trying to take in and change and reflect. And I've been doing the same. I've been listening to people share ideas, because while I think I'm doing one thing good, someone else has something else that's better. And I should be able to take that. And if the goal is human first, period, then I'm going to do that no matter what. So lots of learning, lots of learning. I've also been learning to believe and to maintain my belief, keep my true north and my why. Lots of haters have come out of the woodwork, as always, but I know what I'm doing is right, and I know what I'm doing is good. I've been trying to identify where their hate is coming from and isolate that, so that I know how to proceed.
So my last question, I'm actually going to ask you two more questions, and I did tell you what both of these questions were. So my second to last question is, how do you know that you are doing your right thing?
It's definitely my true north. It's my why. Personally, my why is to change the world. And that's such a big thought sentence and abstract. But I mean, world could be like worldwide, or county, community, state, my own family, my friends. It could be just something as simple as one person that I met. Just change the world. I really I want to go down in history. I don't have to be in a history book, but I want to go down in history, whatever the literal history is, as someone who did something great for the world, for the future generation. That's always been my personal, literal life mission. As soon as I've done that, I can die happy. But I think also too, like my why and my true north professionally, it's kids first, it's humans first, no matter what. If it doesn't resonate with that, it's not good, and I'm not doing it. So I think just maintaining the why and my true north. I know it's good for humans. If it's not going to work for me. Or I know it's good for the majority, it's good for all. It doesn't suppress, it doesn't oppress, it doesn't make me feel bad. That's how I know I'm doing the right thing.
I love it. And last question, what 3 words capture who you are?
I am a listener. That's my first word. I like to listen. I like to sit back, reflect, and listen. I take in all the things, feelings, thoughts, vibes, behaviors, facts, opinions. I love to listen, because listening brings about growth. It brings about change, reflection, and it brings about new things. So I like to listen. I'd also say believer. Without belief, I am without nothing. I'm super God driven. So my foundation and my faith is everything. It's my unshakableness. And if I don't believe in something, I can't get with it. So I'm going to do everything again against it. And my last word, this is my new one I've been uncovering in my identity work. I am actually a risk taker. Can I hyphenate it so it's one word?
Yeah.
I have been developing my love of taking a risk. I've been rising to challenges. I've been taking adventures. I've been saying yes before no. I have not been overly cautious as I was before. I've not been doubtful. I have been risk taking. I have been taking good risks that have reaped good benefits, and it's because I listened and I believed. So those are my 3 words that really resonate with me.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks.
So Amber, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
I'm
you.
inspired and I'm delighted.
Yes, thank you, friend. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yes, me too. Me too. Thinking the same thing. Oh, so you take care, and I will be dropping into some of your groups, and I look forward to being part of your conversation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.